Hello and welcome back to another OMNIHEROES video. In this video we're going to be looking at Season 8 units, what they do, what they look like, and yeah, just my overall thoughts and opinions on them. If you do want more content like this, then I would suggest subscribing. I do get these from official sources, so all of these images that you see are all from the Discord and all from the community moderator over at the Discord. Free to share, free to make any videos about it, so thought I would share with you guys. I think that's just about it for news, so let's jump straight into it. Okay, so the first unit that we have, Sukii, active skill, first thing. So these are her attacks. This is what she will do. She's going to deal damage to frontline enemies. There is a little bit further down, something about corrode, but there's no mention of corrode in the active skill, so I don't know how much she's going to do. Don't know how many stacks of corrode she's going to apply with these attacks. We just know that she attacks frontline units only, which I think it's not great for me personally. I've been experimenting with Chang a little bit, the latest hero from this season, and I'm not overly impressed with the fact that she only attacks frontline units, primarily because Persephone exists and also Elmer exists. So if there is an enemy Elmer, he effectively just he stops Chang in her tracks. So the deals damage to frontline enemies is a bit meh for me. Would prefer it to deal damage to all enemies, but it is what it is. So we'll move on to the next passive skill. So the first passive skill that she has, this will be unlocked at 6 stars, increases the team's max HP. Not too much information there on how much it's going to increase by, whether it's going to be a flat rate buff like we see with Dahlia, or like we see with Ophelia or Elisha. We don't know, but what we do know is that she increases the team's max HP. Is it going to be a flat buff? Are you going to be able to dispel this buff? I don't know, but that's what will happen at 6 stars. Now, if you get her up to the next one, so the passive skill 2, so this is probably going to be 7 stars, increases the team's corrode damage. That's okay. I think it's increasing the corrode damage is very powerful. We've seen instances of this with Lancelot. We've seen instances of this with Talos, with Emily. All of those contribute to an increased damage. And as well, I think it's going to be very useful for Gaia because the increase in the damage also plays into Gaia's passive as well. So I think she's going to work very well alongside Gaia. We don't know what synergy Sukii is going to be, but we know that she's going to be a mystifier. So we'll just have to see. It looks like a celestial to me, if I ever saw one, but I've been wrong in the past, so don't take my word for it. Now the final passive skill, this is where I get really interesting. So I believe this will unlock at 8 stars. When the corrode effect is triggered, Sukii will steal the enemy's stats, decrease the enemy's attack and defense, and increase the attack and defense for Sukii and her allies. So effectively, it looks like as soon as you trigger that corrode effect, so this will be on upkeep or at the very start of the round, so on round 1, this will trigger, and then Sukii will apply those stacks. I believe it's going to be stacks, because it's decreased the enemy's attack and defense and increased the attack and defense for her and her allies as well. So I suspect these will be stacks that are applied. Hopefully it's going to be a counter to Elisha's passive, to Arthur's passive, potentially to opposing Gaia's passive, but we'll have to see. And we'll have to see whether or not these stacks interact with this stack limit. So as a default, all stacks, attack stacks, HP stacks, defense stacks, they have a limit of 5. 5 stacks in total, unless you go outside of that, like for Elisha's passive or Arthur's passive, that have their own separate stacks of 50 or however many it will be. We'll have to see whether or not this is applied to that. And if it's applied outside that, I think she's going to be very good. If it's applied before, so within the stack limit, the original stack limit of 5, I don't think this is going to be too effective because both Gwyn and Talinas already do this effect. So if you have both of them on the team, Gwyn will increase your attack, and Talanas will will decrease enemies' defense. So we'll just have to see. I think she's very interesting for now. I think she can become a massive player in the Mystifiers team, depending on what synergy she's in. If she's in something like Phantoms, might be good, but there's no real DD Phantoms on the team, or on the Mystifiers team at the moment. If she's Monarch, this will break Monarchs. I've got no, it'll break Mystifiers, sorry. I've got no hesitation about that. Protector might be a good synergy. Striker, also very good synergy within Mystifiers. And then who's the last one? Protector, Striker, Monarch, Enchanter. So she could be an Enchanter and work well with Emily, but there aren't many other Enchanters on the team, on the Mystifiers team anyway. But finally, her rune skill. When Amatsu attacks, when Amatsu's attack hits an enemy, there's a chance to double the corrode stacks. So this we've seen already in the form of Bastet, but Bastet does not have it on attack. It just has a chance to double the number of corrode stacks and can be very effective. I've seen it where you can get massive amounts of stacks. The problem, again, with Dooms is the stack, not Dooms, with Mystifiers, is the stack limit. So the stack limit is, in my opinion, it's the one thing that holds Mystifiers back, is that at maximum you can only apply 5 stacks of corrode per enemy unit. That's what Mystifiers desperately needs, is a way to increase that stack limit. You have Dullahan, who increases the stack limit, and I believe there's one other unit as well which increases stack limit. I think it's Emily, who increases the stack limit by 5, and Dullahan increases it by 10, putting it up to 20 stacks altogether, which is why you can never hit Gaia's passive in normal or vanilla PvE mode or PvP mode. There's just no way of getting that stack limit above 25 to trigger Gaia's invincibility. A long forgotten ability. So that's my 2 thoughts on it. So we'll jump into the next unit and just see if this one's any good. They went in on this one, I think. Yeah. I've got the full art version of this. It's very good. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Leviathan, active skill, deals damage to frontline enemies. So we see this frontline enemies again. I personally don't like it because Elmer exists. It is what it is. For me, it's really tough to overcome that if there is an invincible enemy on that front line. It just reduces the value of it, the value and the effectiveness of units in general. I think if Chang hit all units, or if Chang hit the back row, she would be much more powerful and much more widely used. But as it stands at the moment, because she only hits front row, it's not really something that it's something I'm excited about anyway. It's just frontline enemy damage. It's very restricting for me. Now, first passive skill, increases the team's max HP. There's no condition on this, so it may just be a flat rate buff, increasing the team's max HP, or it may be triggered from her attack, or it may be triggered from her passive, very similar to how Arthur works. So it increases the team's max HP, and the second effect is increases team's reflect rate. So this first passive skill effect, I suspect, will be in, it'll be at 6 stars, or passive effect 1 and 2 will be 6 stars, or 6 stars and 8 stars respectively, and passive skill effect 3 will be unlocked at 7 and 9 stars respectively as well. That seems to be how they're going, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So increase the team's reflect rate damage. That is very strong. I see that all the time for Merlin specifically. It's a very slept on unit, Merlin. Goes very well with Halissa. Hopefully Leviathan is a Monarch, but we'll just have to see. So for Leviathan in general, I think increasing HP and increasing reflect rate is going to work very well, especially because she's a Dooms. And the reason that we know that is because she increases the team's reflect rate, therefore she is a Doom. Now, increasing the team's max HP with Ophelia. Now, she looks like a deviant to me, so I think she's going to pair very well with Ophelia. That will also give an increase to attack as well for Ophelia's 6-star passive. So got to work very well. I suspect it's going to be Dooms and Deviants as well. I don't know what the synergy will be for this one. Potentially it'll be a Striker. Potentially it'll be a Monarch. I hope it'll be a Monarch. It'd be really nice if it was, but we'll just have to see. Now, the third passive skill effect, when enemies attack, there is a chance to make the attack the target enemy themselves. I think this is worded a bit weirdly. So when enemies attack, there is a chance to make the attack target the enemy themselves. So I think instead of... so effectively you change the target of the incoming attack, I think is what they need to say. So when an enemy takes action, they will get their procs, but then they will target a specific or a set of units on your team. Instead of this, it's the damage will be done to their themselves. So, for example, if the enemy has a Eudora will target all of those attacks on herself. That's what I read from this. So Eudora has 5 attacks in one, which is what makes her so powerful. But if those 5 attacks are redirected back at her or back at Eudora, she's going to die. There's no two ways about it. She's going to die. It is what it is. She's going to be wiped off the face of the earth by herself. And I think that is going to be a very strong ability. There is a chance to make the attack target the enemy for themselves. So there's a chance to do that. Don't know what that chance will be. I honestly don't know what that chance will be. But I think it's going to be a very strong effect. I mean, Arthur's at 50% reflect rate, and I see that proc all the time. But that is because he applies it to everybody, all of our units, all ally units as well. So we'll see. If it's above sort of 50%, then I think you're on, chicken dinner. But if it's below, if it's like 25%, I never see Halios stun. He's got a 25% chance to stun an enemy when he does reflect damage. That is, I never see that. I can't rely on it. It's okay. It does the job, but it doesn't. You can't build your team around it effectively. And then the rune skill. So this is the final bit. Increases the team's HP boost gain from Leviathan's passive skill, effect 1. So as you can see, the passive skill increases the team's max HP. Runes will increase HP further. Again, it doesn't say add stacks. It just says increase the team's max HP. I don't know if, again, it's going to be a flat buff or if it's going to be a stack limit like we've seen with Elisha, with Arthur, stuff like that. If that's the way that they're going with that, that's going to be immense. That's going to be really, really powerful. Increasing team's HP boost, especially with Arthur. Arthur deals additional damage equal to his HP, or 5% of his HP when he does reflect damage. So if she can increase his HP, he's going to do more reflect damage than he's ever done before. So very excited about that. Again, we'll just have to see how good she is. So that's it for Leviathan and that tasty cake. We will see you next season. Okay, and Amatsu active skills. So this is the third and final. Well, I say third and final. There is one more, but I don't have full information for that at the moment, so I'm not going to share it. I do have a little bit of information on the non-DD unit, but not enough to really share at the moment. So, first active skill. Deal damage to frontline enemies. Again, we see this trend of frontline enemies. It may be that they changed this before with feedback from the people who've got this information. I personally don't like the fact that they all deal damage to frontline enemies. Seems very strange, but we'll see. So, increases team's max HP. Very strong effect. Very powerful effect. We've seen that with Elisha. We've seen that with Arthur as well, with Ophelia. Very, very powerful effect. Increasing max HP. The more HP you have, the less likely you are to die, and therefore the more likely you are to win. It's just my thoughts on increasing HP. Now, passive skill effect 2 increases the team's crit damage. So I suspect that this unit is going to be an ethereal. We've already had very strong ethereal added recently in the form of Elisha. Now, Elisha increases attack and HP every time you get a crit. Now we're going to get an increase in crit damage, and we're going to get an increase in HP as well. There doesn't seem to be any triggers for this, not that I've seen anyway. So increases the team's max HP, increase the team's crit damage. I don't know if these are going to be procced from crits, if these are going to be procced from attacks, if these are just flat passive boosts. I don't know. We don't have that type of information just yet, but we'll have to see more around the time when they come out, when they actually drop it into the data. But for now, this is what we've got. And then passive effect, or passive skill effect 3. When an ally deals crit damage, he or she will gain a shield effect. So this is a DD version of Katrina. Katrina was so strong in the meta with Eudora, with Karnak on the team. It was just unstoppable for a time, believe it or not. It's Katrina, Karnak and Eudora when there weren't as many units out. The problem with that, specifically gaining that amount of shield, is Seraphina exists and her exclusive runes exist. So Seraphina, in case you don't know, with her exclusive runes will she will drop the she will ignore shield. She'll apply ignore shield if your buffs are above 30, or if a unit's buffs are above 30, they will ignore enemy shield. So you can have as much shield as you want, but Seraphina will go under it. And that's the way around that particular ability. However, against Mystifiers, against Dooms, against even Valianters to a point, against the majority of other teams, it's a very powerful effect. Really powerful effect. Gaining that shield is going to be immense. I'm very excited to see how much shield we can gain, because I know with Katrina's, her shield was based off her own attack. So the higher Katrina's attack is, the more shielding you will get. I think this unit's going to work very well with Audrey as well. I think because Audrey, every time Audrey gains a shield, she will dish it out to the rest of the team as well. So it should be a very powerful combination. I do not know, again, what this synergy is, but it may potentially be a striker. We've just got to brace ourselves for that, so we'll see. Now, rune skill increases Amatsu's shield effect. So this might be gains a shield effect, might be 50% shielding equal to her attack, and then the rune skill will increase it to 100% of her attack every time. Ooh, what's that? But it may be that. I don't know. I don't know what the percentages will be for this, but I suspect if you get her red runes, it's going to be a very strong effect. So we'll see. Right, and then that's it for me. So, and here we go. So these are effectively the arts in full. I do have wider screen versions of these arts. They are very good, but it is just more background stuff. These are the main crux of it. We also do, again, we have the non-DD units information, but there's just no art to back it up. So I'll make a separate video on that. If you're not subscribed, please do. And then, yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope it's been informative for you, and let me know what you think of these units.